Welcome to my castle. Inside my castle, Gollum says. I found the secret room shortly after moving in here and quickly decided to take advantage of the large unused space in order to set up my new workshop. I haven't really been tinkering with devices as long as I would have liked since I became king, but I find that this place always relaxes me after a heated discussion such as the one I had with the master earlier. You said that you have something you wanted to discuss with us in private, Darren says. Yes, I did, Gollum says. Let's start with your giant friend over there who is currently shapeshifting into a dwarf. Damn it, Hardrick says. I should have known that this is all too good to be true. Is this the part where you kick me out of the tournament? Of course not, Gollum says. The rules of the tournament never explicitly stated that giants were not allowed in the tournament. You only avoided inviting giants to this contest because of the overwhelming advantage you would get from both your size and your strength. However, given that you have willingly shrunk yourself to the size of a dwarf, we have decided to make an exemption in your case. You will be permitted to participate in this tournament as long as you do not shapeshift yourself into anything bigger than what you know will be possible for a dwarf. Also, since you seem to be so fond of your dwarf form, this is how you will present yourself to all other participants from now on. I do not want any of the other mages finding out that you are in fact a giant. Are we clear? As clear as can be, Hardrick says, grinning happily. In that case, you're free to go. Gollum says, I no longer have any business to discuss with you. You're not free to go to the arena, or no, I mean that you're free to carry on with the first round of the tournament. Gollum says, unlike your friends, you were not present at the scene of the crime, and there is no reason for us to incarcerate you. There is no need for you to go into the arena. The hell there isn't, Hardrick says. Do you think I came all the way here to go looking for pine cones? I came here to fight, damn it. I swear if you do not let me fight in the arena, I'm going to start thrashing the whole neighborhood until your gods throw me in there themselves. Well, if you insist that I can write a letter of admission for you, which you can give to the guards at the arena's entrance, Gollum says, they'll be sure to let you in once they see the royal seal. Perfect, Hardrick says, much obliged. Should I also be writing a letter for the girl and the banshee over there? Gollum says, as he looks toward Flower. Well, Flower starts to say, well, Luna interrupts. No, we're fine. She says, as the girl's eyes turn blue. We'll watch the show from the spectator seat. Very well, Gollum says. Then I'll be sure to provide you with a ticket. I see you've done your homework, Hardrick says. I don't think you'd have also known about Luna. My spies have been instructed to be extra vigilant when it comes to mages from other continents. Gollum says they've been keeping a close eye on you ever since you entered the city. Does this mean they were also watching us when we attacked the noble? Darren says. Yes, Gollum says. The second reason why I wanted to speak to you in private. First of all, I would like to offer you an apology. Imagine that the scene you witnessed that day must have been quite shocking for an outsider like yourself. You don't sound like you approve of what was happening with the slave girl, Kate says. I do not, Gollum says. I personally find that the way our society treats slaves is sickening, and we are all responsible in a way to allowing the system to continue. I myself am not much better than my predecessor because I'm barely done anything conclusive to address the problem since I moved into the castle. But why? Darren says. Why haven't you done anything? You're the king. You could do so much to help these people. Yeah, the nobility probably wouldn't allow that. Royal family does not have absolute power, you know. Look up there, Gollum says as he points towards the metal device hanging from the ceiling. What about it? Darren says after he gives the device a cursory glance. What you see over there is an invention of my own making with the sole purpose of blocking communication towards the outside. Gollum says, I installed it here shortly after my arrival to the castle. You're saying that someone could be listening to our conversation, I say? Oh, they're most certainly trying, Gollum says. You might not have noticed, but the room above us is littered with dozens of hidden devices made for spying on conversation. I make no mistake, I'm not the only person with an information network in the city, and the control I have over my kingdom is in fact a lot more limited than you might think. And who are these people that are keeping tabs on you exactly? Hardrick asks. The other kings? Yes, in a way, Gollum says. The ones in charge of keeping an eye on me are the group of Lessethi, who are allies with the other kings, who work independently. They control a vast underground network of spies and assassins who rival my own, and their purpose is to make sure that I don't take too many initiatives that might endanger the future of Wraithia. Try to take a decision as bold as freeing all the slaves in my city, I may well get assassinated even before I manage to sign the decree. So you're just going to stand there and do nothing then, Hardrick says. Not at all, Gollum says. In fact, I've been working for years wishes to improve our relationships with the animal kingdom for the exact purpose. Their territories have been getting smaller and smaller due to the increasing number of monster attacks in the recent years, so their negotiators have become a little less rigid lately. Promise to provide them shelter within our walls on the condition that they help us clear the Lessethi threat from our city. I will have a meeting in this very room with one of the representatives of the animal kingdoms in a few days when we will discuss this exact topic. If everything goes well, it is very likely that they will be reaching an agreement within the next few months. Interesting. So what are you trying to say here is that you've got everything under control and we should no longer interfere, Hardrick says. Yes, exactly, Olympic says. I wanted to make sure that you're aware of the whole situation in case you be tempted to do something rash again. Actually, I think we have already filled our quota of rash actions for the week. A few months is too long. Maybe we can take care of the Lessethi problem instead. Nah, I highly doubt we can do that. Actually, I think we have already filled our quota of rash actions for the week, I say. These Lessethi you spoke of, Kate tells Gollum. Do you know if there are any, they're working with any other artificial mages? Is there a woman called Diane who controls electricity helping them? As far as I know, the Lessethi from my city are not using any mages as bodyguards. Gollum says, my spies would have certainly found out by now. If there were any other artificial mages in Thelius, I see, Kate says. There's one more thing I need to tell you all before you leave. Gollum says as he turns towards the rest of us. If you manage to survive the arena and win your freedom, you will need to stop by my castle again in order to receive some documents which will prove that you have served your sentence for your crimes. While these documents will most likely not be needed in Thelius, they will help you deal with guards that might try to have you arrested in other cities for the murder of the Earl of Ollender. Now, unless you have anything else to discuss with me, I will start writing on the letter of admission for the dwarf. Then you can be on your way. Once we are done talking, Gollum writes a few words on a piece of paper, stamps his seal on the letter, and then he gives it to Hardrick so he can show it to the guards at the arena. Just as we turn to leave, the gnome suddenly remembers that he forgot to tell us something. One last thing, Gollum says, I believe that this should go without saying, but I will mention it nonetheless. You should never talk about anything we have discussed in this room as long as you're inside the city, not even amongst yourself. You never know when someone might be listening. I called you into this secure room to chat privately because I felt I could trust you with the information. I hope that you will not betray my trust. Of course not, Darren says, we'll take care. Very well, then Gollum says, in that case, I wish you luck in the arena. May the gods be with you. May they watch over us all, Darren says. After we finish our discussion with Gollum, is that how you spell it? I've just noticed. Gollum. Yeah, that sounds about right. We said our goodbyes to the gnome. We left him to the work on his devices while we started to climb up the narrow stairs one by one. We reached the throne room. The king's servant was already waiting for us at the top of the stairs. This way, if you please, the servant says as he starts walking towards the exit. Make sure that you follow me closely so you won't get lost. Don't worry, Barry, we're right behind you, Hardrick says, and he grins at me widely. Isn't that right, Barry? Oh, shut up, I tell him as we all start to follow the servant out of the room and towards a new prison. And that's chapter number 2. Let's begin that. Checkpoint. Why am I even reading that? Listen, Aruka, Darren says as we walk towards the arena, you're absolutely sure that Aiden you fought during the still winter the same person as the one we are dealing with now? I mean, it's been like 600 years, right? No one would blame you if you were to make a confusion after all this time. Damn it, this is the third time you've asked me the exact same question, Aruka says. Yes, it's the same Aiden from 600 years ago. Get it through your thick skull already. Darren, why are you finding it is so hard to believe? You already knew that he was 600 years old, that he was an old acquaintance of Araka and the Golden Force. Given his power, it wasn't that big of a stretch to assume that he was the one who defeated Araka all that years ago. He defeated Araka? I don't think that was mentioned at any point. It's not the fact that he could beat Araka that I find hard to believe, Darren says. It's the fact that he's known as the founder of the continent civilization when all we've seen him do so far is wreak havoc for the sole purpose of his amusement. People change over time, Kate says. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Aiden tell you when you first met that the reason he's keeping his eyes closed is because he got tired of seeing the ugliness of humanity? You've seen the way he acted around the Earl and the Master of Ollender. It's clear that he no longer holds anything other than disgust and disdain for the inhabitants of Varathia. Leaving Aiden aside, I say, shouldn't we rather be discussing our plans for the arena? Don't worry about the arena, Hardrick says. I alone should be more than enough to deal with whatever the master can throw at us. Oh yeah, I say, what if they separate us? Barry makes a good point, Darren says. The first thing we need to make sure of is that we can still communicate with each other, even if we are thrown in different cells. Darren takes off his backpack and then he takes 3 transceivers out of it. Kate, Hardrick, Flower, take these, he says, as he gives each of them a transceiver. Barry, you'd already have a transceiver. I don't think I've shown you this before, but you have a dial on the right side of the transceiver that you can use to change your calling frequency in order to match the signal frequency of one of the other transceiver. Does everyone see the dial I'm talking about? This is basically a radio, like a long distance radio, honestly. Yes, we all answer. Good. Darren says each of the transceivers is assigned a number which corresponds to his own unique signature frequency. Make sure you memorize everyone else's number so you'll know who to contact when the need arises. The numbers are engraved on the back of the transceiver. I look at the back of my transceiver and see that I'm assigned the number 2. When we exchange the numbers, I'll learn that Kate was number 3. Oh, I don't have to remember this, right? So I am number 2, Kate is number 3, Flower is 4, and Hardrick is 5. Alright, then Darren says, is Darren 1 then? Now we all know your numbers. As an aside, what? As an aside? What does that mean?